Colts versus Falcons. Let's start with Colts versus Falcons in Germany. For the Colts, the big one is defensive tackle DeForest Buckner. He has already been ruled out with a neck injury and did not participate in practice before the team left. That is a huge loss for their run defense. The good news, cornerback Sauce Gardner and wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr. were listed as full participants in practice, so the Colts should have their #1 corner and #1 receiver ready to go. On the Falcons side, the offensive line is really beaten up. Matthew Bergeron and Storm Norton were not participating in practice, and guard Chris Lindstrom and safety Jesse Bates III were limited participants in practice. Translation: Indianapolis loses a star in the middle of the defense, and Atlanta might have real protection issues up front. Bears versus Giants. Next up, Bears versus Giants. For the Bears, most of the offensive weapons are on the report, but trending in the right direction. Wide receiver DJ Moore and rookie Rome Odunze have been listed as limited participants in practice, while running back DeAndre Swift has been a full participant in practice. The Giants, on the other hand, are dealing with volume. Kicker Graham Gano, multiple defensive linemen, and center John Michael Schmitz were not participating in practice, and left tackle Andrew Thomas was held out as a rest designation. That's a lot of stress on both their protection and their defense. Dolphins versus Bills. In the AFC East, we've got Dolphins versus Bills. For Miami, edge rusher Bradley Chubb and several defensive backs have been listed as limited participants in practice, but wide receiver Jalen Waddle has been a full participant in practice with his foot issue, which is huge for that passing attack. For the Bills, the secondary and pass rush are banged up. Cornerback Christian Benford and safety Sam Franklin have been not participating in practice, and edge rusher AJ Epineza has been in the concussion protocol and not practicing. Several others, like cornerback Taron Johnson, have been limited participants in practice. If those defensive backs don't get closer to the full participant in practice status by the weekend, it could be a long day against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Buccaneers versus Patriots. Moving on to Buccaneers versus Patriots. For Tampa Bay, wide receiver Chris Godwin has been not participating in practice because of a fibula issue, and running back Bucky Irving has also been not participating in practice with a foot injury. Quarterback Baker Mayfield, though, has been a full participant in practice despite a knee designation. On the Patriots side, the big name is running back Ramondre Stevenson, listed as not participating in practice with a toe injury. If he cannot progress to limited participant in practice or full participant in practice before Sunday, that offense loses its main engine in the run game. Texans versus Jaguars. In the AFC South, Texans versus Jaguars has one of the most important situations of the week. For the Texans, quarterback CJ Stroud has been listed as not participating in practice because of a concussion. Until he clears the protocol and at least becomes a limited participant in practice, his status is in serious doubt. Running backs Nick Chubb and Dameon Pierce have been limited participants in practice, so the backfield is also beat up. The Jaguars have their own issues, especially at wide receiver, with Brian Thomas listed as not participating in practice due to an ankle injury and several defenders limited. The key thing here, if Stroud does not get cleared, Houston's offensive ceiling drops massively. Jets versus Browns. Let's talk Jets versus Browns. For the Jets, the main concern is wide receiver Garrett Wilson, who has been a limited participant in practice with a knee issue. When you look at their offense, if he's not close to full participant in practice by game day, their passing game becomes extremely predictable. The Browns have a few receivers and linebackers who have not been participating in practice, but their core starters, including quarterback Shedeur Sanders, have mostly been full participants in practice. That keeps Cleveland in a better spot overall. Panthers versus Saints. In the NFC South, we've got Panthers versus Saints. The Panthers have defensive end Derek Brown and running back Rico Dowdle as limited participants in practice, plus wide receiver Bryson Tremaine listed as not participating in practice with a hip injury. For the Saints, the big name is running back Alvin Kamara, who has been a limited participant in practice because of an ankle issue, while tight end Taysom Hill and defensive end Cameron Jordan have been full participants in practice. If Kamara ends up limited on snap count, the Saints may need to lean more on the passing game. Seahawks versus Cardinals. Over in the NFC West, Seahawks versus Cardinals. For the Seahawks, wide receiver Cooper Kupp has been a limited participant in practice with a hamstring issue, and several depth receivers like Jake Bobo and Torrey Horton have not been participating in practice. The Cardinals are dealing with a banged-up secondary. Star safety Budda Baker has been a limited participant in practice with a hamstring problem. Corners like Will Johnson and Max Melton have been not participating in practice, one of them with a concussion. That could open the door for big passing plays if Seattle protects the quarterback. Chargers versus Steelers, Sunday night. On Sunday Night Football, we have Chargers versus Steelers. For the Chargers, wide receiver Keenan Allen has been a full participant in practice with a rest tag, and edge rusher Khalil Mack is in the same situation, full participation with a rest designation. The main concerns are on the offensive line and in the secondary, where several players have been limited participants in practice or have not participated in practice. The Steelers have a very long injury list, as usual. Edge rusher Alex Highsmith has been a limited participant in practice with an ankle issue. Tight end Connor Hayward and several defenders have not been participating in practice. No single megastar ruled out yet, but the overall wear and tear is real. Packers versus Eagles, Monday night. And we finish with Monday Night Football, Packers versus Eagles. For the Packers, running back Josh Jacobs, wide receiver Christian Watson, and wide receiver Dontavian Wicks have all been limited participants in practice, dealing with rest or leg issues. There are also several front seven players listed as limited or out. Fox Sports. For the Eagles, the headline is actually positive. Running back Saquon Barkley and wide receiver A.J. Brown have been full participants in practice, with their previous injuries now under control. A few linemen and defenders are still limited participants in practice, but overall, Philadelphia's main stars look ready to go. On paper, that gives the Eagles a clear health advantage going into prime time. So those are the most important injury updates for NFL